Okay, this is my video on group class management. So, for how we would typically run a combatives class from beginning to end is the first 10 minutes. The instructor would say, okay, for any first time students, go ahead and meet me in the corner. And that's where they would do the 10-minute intro for somebody who's never had a class before. And for the rest of the students, please review your techniques starting with the most recent one first. Um, After that, during that review period should be about 10 minutes, no more than that. As the instructor, you should be walking around helping the least experienced students first, and letting them do the techniques on you. Um, I think that's really important. Praising them, making sure you know everybody's name. After the review period is over, you're going to go ahead and line them up on the wall and collect their combatives cards. Definitely ask them, the students, if they have any questions from the review period. I think it's really critical that you ask the students questions, because there's a chance, the chance is that if somebody's asking a question about a certain technique, there's a good chance that others may be wondering the same thing. So I think that's really empowering for the students to learn and to feel, like, not like they can't ask questions. You go to some academies and they definitely, you ask a question and they kind of look at you like you're crazy, and that's not the type of environment that we want for our students. We always want to make sure they feel like they can ask questions, and that we encourage them to ask questions. So after that, you're going to have about 10 minutes for your standing technique, probably about 5 minutes to do the demonstration, and from there, being the instructor, you're going to go through your whole slice presentation formula, from beginning to end. After you present the standing technique, ask if they ask if they have any questions about the technique that was just presented, um, and answer them, or don't answer them if they don't have any. Have them ask them, if you've had class number 22, please step off the wall, turn around and find somebody who hasn't had that class before. And it's really important, the strategic partnerships, because you don't want to have like any mismatches. You don't want to have two brand new students together, and then you don't want to have like two students, like, let's say they're both 3-stripe white belts. So you definitely don't want to have like two inexperienced people together, and you don't want to have, well, I guess, I'm not saying that 2 3-stripe students couldn't be together, but let's say there's only 4 people in the class. You definitely want to have one less experienced person partnered up with a more experienced person. So experience-wise, make sure to pair them up, and then also, you don't want to have like any huge mismatches. You don't want to have like a 350-pound man with a 70-pound, female, and you don't want to have somebody really old with somebody really young. So try to get the pairing as best as you can, and that's imperative, just because you don't want, they're already intimidated for the first time coming into class and it's something new, so you want to make sure that the new time student and everybody in the class feels comfortable, and you want it to be a friendly, helpful learning environment. So that's why the partnerships are so important. So after that, you're going to be giving them all the drill orders and the release reminders, and you're going to be walking around and watching them do their technique, and then after they've done it for about 5 minutes, then you can stand them back up, line them back up on the wall, ask them if they had any questions from what they just practiced. If not, move into your ground technique, which that should be about the main bulk of the class, about 35 minutes long. And you're going to do the same thing you did for the standing technique. You're going to do your slice presentation formula, ask them if they have any questions, give them the drill orders and the release reminders for the ground technique. And then, depending on how many variations there are, like, for instance, let's just say the trap and roll, that has more variations than some of the other techniques. So you'll need to, kind of be timely with those, if you will. So, do practice, have them practice for, a couple minutes, and then, get right back to it. Also for, when you're walking around and watching them do the techniques, you definitely want to be correcting them in a specific way, and you want to be, the first adjustment we're going to make is called the perfect adjustment, where you just move their hand and have them, put their hand in this position, monkey grip for, like, let's just say the trap and roll, and you move the hand for them, and you're like, perfect, okay. Let's say you see two partners, working on the trap and roll, and it's, the other senior student isn't able to really verbalize, and help, the less experienced student. So then what you would do is you would ask the more senior student to, hey, well, let me help her just for a second. Let me jump in there for a minute and help her out. And then from there, you're more working on, you're not so much verbalizing, their corrections. You're giving them feedback based on touch, and more or less putting their hand here, putting their foot there, and helping them in that sort of manner. Not so much verbalizing it when because you're the perfect bad guy, obviously. So no matter what, they can't fail if you're the bad guy. As far as the last procedure it's called the sandwich ratio, and it's 3-to-1. So if the other two methods haven't worked and they're not learning by, you trying to physically correct them, then, you give a sandwich ratio, where it's one positive comment followed by the correction, followed by another positive comment. And that's really important, because you don't want them to ever feel like they're failing. And then, you want them to feel like, they're doing a good job, and you just don't ever want to put them down. So it's really, it's very imperative that we keep that 3-to-1 ratio and go through all those steps. Another thing is, you always want to, kind of tell them that, if they're having a hard time with it, say, hey, that's why we go through these classes. You have to go through them 4 times, and each time you go through it, you're going to be getting better and better. So don't even worry about it. If you feel like you're not understanding it, it's definitely going to make more sense to you the second and third and fourth time you take the class. So don't get frustrated. This is one of the harder techniques in the combatives. So, like, that's something I say. I actually said that to a guy the other day, and he was just like, yeah, no, that totally makes sense, and everything was cool. So line them back up on the wall after the ground technique, ask them if they have any questions. Then, if time permits, you can do reflex development. And what that is that should be like maybe 2-3 minutes if you have time. And you just give them the drill orders for that, and tell them starting position, when to reverse, and all that kind of stuff. You want to just make sure you're explaining yourself, reflex development, like what it is. This is, okay, we're going to start with the haymaker pinch, and from there, we're going to do cooperative rollout to the mount, and this is going to give you guys the opportunity to practice all the variations of the trap and roll. So that would be, and then you demonstrate that with your assistant instructor, what exactly you want to do from them. Like I said before, after you demonstrate what you want to do, give them the drill orders, tell them to do the release reminders. And then after that, line them back up, give any stripe promotions, which I think is extremely important. Obviously, that's something that, we're doing anyway, but kind of what Chris does is really cool. Is, he always says a couple positive things about the person that is getting their stripe. And make them feel good. They've worked really hard for their stripe, and chances are they've been going there a couple months anyway. So give them their stripe. Everybody always claps, hugs, line them back up on the wall, ask if they have any final questions about anything, and then if they brought a friend, thank them. For all the regular students, you just want to say, kind of give them a little flash forward of the future. next Monday is class number, we're going to be working on the triangle, class number 3. And, so kind of give them a little teaser for what's to come in the next class. And then the last thing that we always do is clean. So we say, okay, hey guys, Chris always says, hey, let's get a quick sweep in, and then we'll get out of here. And we end the class with a clap, and that's pretty much kind of how a typical combatives class, is run at our school, and obviously that's the, how you guys want us to run it. So kind of beginning to end. Thank you.